The controversial redevelopment of Ontario Place into a mega spa has ballooned in cost by nearly $2 billion. That's according to a new report just released by the province's Auditor General. Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Reddekopp joins us with more on this now. So Lorenda, take us through what we've learned about the cost from the AG's report.
Well, there are some really big numbers in here. This was already a controversial project. You know, Therma Canada going in with a spa and water park, 95-year lease. People were already suspicious of all of that. Now we're learning more about the total cost. According to the Auditor General, it will be more than $2.2 billion for the province. That has increased by $1.8 billion. Now, part of this increase is that the Ontario Science Centre, initially, it was not going to be moving there, so that is part of it. And also, the province is going to be taking over the cost of, you know, the beaches and the public areas. There are also question marks about just how much the parking is going to cost. It will be over $280 million, she says. It could be more than $400 million. And that's because there are still questions about what exactly that parking lot will be. Will it be underground? Exactly where it will be located? So that final design still hasn't been decided. Auditor General Shelley Spence did offer this caveat to the higher cost now to rebuild at Ontario Place.
Some of the cost escalation is construction costs. So that would happen also if you were renovating. Time has gone by and so things are more expensive. So the renovation costs would go up as well.
And she's talking about that because initially, earlier last year, when Infrastructure Ontario came out with this estimate talking about whether to keep the Science Centre where it is and repair or to move it to Ontario Place, it said at that time that it would be more expensive to keep it where it was. And now what we're seeing is that these estimates are showing it will now be more expensive to keep at Ontario or to move to Ontario Place.
Lorenda, the AG is also raising concerns about transparency. What did she find there?
That's right. She says that the process for these bidders wasn't fair, transparent, or accountable to all participants. And she goes back to this call for development process. She says that minutes of meetings with participants, they weren't kept. One of the participants was allowed to submit and after the deadline. And here's another issue that the AG lays out.
The issue that we had is there is a quote in the call for development document itself that says that the participants will not have access to government staff. And that is not what happened. We have a chart in the report. They did have access to government staff from various places, and it just goes against the rules that they had stated themselves in their document.
And she says that some of the interested parties met with ministry staff and also Premier's office staff during that early period. She does make a number of recommendations related to Ontario Place. The government has accepted all but one of them. One of the recommendations is a staged procurement approach to get best ideas and practices early and ensure that major decisions regarding the process are made in advance of starting that solicitation process so that everyone knows what is wanted from them.
So Lorenda, she's not only talking about Ontario Place in this report, we're also hearing from the AG that government spending on advertising has also exploded.
That's right. So I'm going to give you a look at this book. It is huge. She does 9 different value for money audits plus the one on advertising. She found that it exploded this year, totaling $103.5 million. That's more than tripled since last year. Interesting, too, is that she talks about how generally in the year before an election, that's when you really see those prices go up, the cost for government advertising. And there are all of these question marks about whether Ontario could be going to an early election.
We'll let you get back to that long report. Thank you, Lorenda.